Direct from our newsroom, in color, this is the CVP Evening News with Korstian van Pelt.
Good evening. Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee. A sniper's bullet hit Dr. King as he stood on the hotel balcony in Memphis. The 39-year-old leader was rushed to a hospital where he died of a bullet wound in the neck. Police said they found a high-powered rifle about a block from the hotel, but it was not immediately identified as the murder weapon. In a nationwide television address, President Johnson expressed the nation's shock.
America is shocked and saddened by the brutal slaying tonight of Dr. Martin Luther King. I ask every citizen to reject the blind violence that has struck Dr. King, who lived by nonviolence.
Dr. King had returned to Memphis only yesterday, determined to prove that he could lead a peaceful march in support of the Memphis sanitation workers. Dr. King had this to say last night about the situation in Memphis.
Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for right.
Now, before we go into detail on the consequences of Dr. King's death for the civil rights movement, I would like to share a thought with you. How ironic is it that a man of peace was killed with violence? Remember when he told us he had a dream? That beautiful dream that we would once live in a world where the color of our skin wouldn't matter? That dream seems to be further away than ever. Now I can imagine some of you are filled with anger and others are filled with fear. What is going to happen in our country now? Will Dr. King's death lead to an outbreak of violence? On this difficult day, it is perhaps well to ask ourselves what kind of nation we are and what direction we want to move in. We can be filled with hatred, with bitterness, with a desire for revenge. We can move in that direction as a country, in great polarization. Or we can make an effort, as Martin Luther King did, to understand with compassion and love, and to stop the violence in this world. I think it is time we start realizing that our Earth is a kind of manned spaceship, hurtling through the infinity of space. We have to experience that our Earth is one system, and that we're all a part of that system. So that if you kill someone in that system, you essentially kill a part of yourself. You know, once we identify the shooter, instead of locking him up in a cell, let's send him to the moon and have this experience. And then when he returns, let's ask him, would you still have killed Martin Luther King? I can't imagine how going into space, seeing the Earth as a whole, would not let a murderer turn his life around. It has got to change you. it has got to change you. It has got to make you love your brothers and sisters, whether they are black or white, rich or poor, citizen or refugee. So what are we waiting for? Let us send our world leaders into space, and then the bosses of big companies, our teachers, our musicians, our priests, filmmakers, entrepreneurs, bankers, farmers, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, our children. Let's make everyone experience the unity and oneness of our world. But for now, let us dedicate ourselves to understand with compassion and love, and say a prayer for our people and for our world. I wish you all a good night.